All right. Hi, everybody. It's been a little while since we last spoke. Um, by the way, don't let the Star Wars shirt fool you. I'm still very much in the camp that The Last Jedi was a piece of dog shit. So, yeah, fuck that movie. But I'm back, and got a bunch of stuff I'd like to talk about with you. Uh, but before we do anything else, some of you may be aware or may not be aware. I have a new channel. This one isn't going anywhere, but this one is for all. Well, for anyone who followed the comic show poster that I did for a couple of years, where I reviewed superhero comic book related type TV shows and stuff like that. My new channel is all about exclusively about that stuff. Just reviewing sci-fi, fantasy, comic book related media. I'm reviewing episodes of television at the moment that may expand to include other types of videos and stuff in the future. But if that is something that you are interested in, if you want to see me review/roast some of your favorite sci-fi TV shows, you can click on the link in the description box or in this link right here and go subscribe to that channel. And there's, I believe, 4 videos up there right now. I'm reviewing Supergirl and tearing Supergirl a new asshole currently. And I'm having a lot of fun doing it. It's a good time. So help me drive my views up and go click the thumbs up and rock that bell icon so you can be notified when new videos get uploaded. Also, yeah, my hair is still pretty long. Haven't cut it yet. Anywho. So yeah, go click that link and subscribe to that channel. Thrias Unlimited. It's a good time. So, I wanted to touch bases with you guys, because it's been a little while since I've done one of these. I've just been, dealing with real-life stuff. My dad's estate, and just trying to figure everything out with that stuff, and it's just, it's a lot. And it's been kind of overwhelming. There was taxes I had to deal with. It's just, I kind of had an anxiety attack at one point dealing with the tax situation. But you get through it as best you can, and that's taken care of at least. And hopefully we'll get paid for. We'll get a payout from the car insurance soon, and that'll be helpful. But that's not what I came to talk about tonight. That's just stuff I've been dealing with in real life, which you guys don't care about that, or maybe you do. I don't know, but there are a number of things that I wanted to talk to you guys about because it has been a while since we talked. People have been asking me to talk about wrestling, and the reason I stopped reviewing Impact, or I wouldn't say stopped. The reason I took a hiatus from it is because my heart just wasn't in it at the time, and I didn't really have the time or the energy to do it at the time, and I still don't really. But I did a text column for Impact Asylum recently, just to get a few things off my chest. And I'm still doing the heel cast when they want me to and when we can make the schedules work. Haven't been on. I did an episode recently, but I hadn't been on there in a while, and I'd like to get back to that. But it's just we're all on different schedules and in some cases different time zones, so it's tough getting on the same page with everybody. But let's talk about wrestling first, because I know some people have been asking me about that. They want me to talk about that. What I think about Impact and everything else that's going on. Please don't ask me about the greatest Royal Rumble, which I did not watch. I saw the 2 most important parts, the 2 most memorable parts, and I think you know which parts those are. I saw many a gif of those 2 things, and on the rest of it, I'm good. No desire to watch the rest. I saw the 2 most entertaining bits, and that'll sustain me quite well. But yeah, Impact. A lot's going on. since this new regime took over, the Scott D'Amore, Don Callis regime. A lot's happening. They're doing a lot of the stuff with the Twitch, and this can we call it a partnership with Lucha Underground? I don't know, but they're doing stuff with them. Had that cross-promoted show, WrestleMania weekend, good show. All right, you know what? I'm just going to talk about Impact. Try to give my general thoughts on this, because I haven't done that in a while. Obviously, they had the pay-per-view where Alberto El Patron no-showed an event and got fired, and they had to do some hasty course-correcting to change it to Aries versus Pentagon Jr. versus Phoenix, I believe, for the title instead. And considering that they had to change courses at the last minute, I thought they did a pretty damn good job, about as well as they possibly could have, of making it seem organic and not like they had to just retcon everything they did. Now, they managed to tie it all together. Okay, Patron no-showed, so he's gone. But no, we got this new main event that's even better, and they even managed to justify it storyline-wise to an extent. I thought they did a really good job with that. So it didn't feel jarring at all when this match went on in its place. I'm not crazy about Pentagon winning the world title. I don't see how that helps Impact. I guess it helps to cultivate a relationship with Lucha Underground, I assume. But Impact's audience is bigger than Lucha Underground's. So what's Impact really getting out of this? We swapped out Austin Aries for a guy that fewer fans are probably familiar with, so I'm not sure what the purpose is of this, unless it's to facilitate the Aries heel turn, which we kind of saw last Thursday. And again, I don't see why that was necessary. I thought Austin Aries was fine as a babyface. So to make him a heel now, I'm not sure why, especially because they don't really have a babyface equivalent to Austin Aries right now. That's why they kind of needed him to be a babyface. So it's a very strange decision. I'll wait and see where they go with it, but right now I kind of just wish they kept the belt on Aries. At least until Slammiversary. But anyway, it looks like he's going heel for now, so we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, we get also on this past Thursday's show, we had Brian Cage versus Trevor Lee. I don't know what they're going for with Brian Cage being in the X division. That just seems very strange. Not that he can't do the high flying stuff. We've seen him go high risk and do it very impressively, but it's just. I mean, you've got Brian Cage. Why would you want to put him in a spot like this? The only thing that makes sense to me is that they don't want to hotshot him to the main event too quickly, but in the meantime, they're not sure what else to do with him. Because this is a guy that, if he's not in the main events, there's something wrong. Because he looks like he belongs in the fucking main events. And you just put him over Bobby Lashley twice, and now suddenly he's in the X division. It's just. It's strange. I guess there's not a place for him in the main events at the moment. But in the meantime, you couldn't come up with something better than this. It's just strange. So you put him in, you give him a match with Trevor Lee, and well, kind of a foregone conclusion for what's going to happen for what happened there. But the booking of Brian Cage has been great so far, and kind of feel bad for Trevor Lee. In the Cult of Lee, I thought they were onto something with putting them in the tag team division, but then they kind of turned them into sort of comic relief heels. Not that they weren't funny, but I felt like there was more mileage to get out of them, especially when the tag team division is kind of barren at the moment. More on that in a little bit. Can you guys hear me okay? Let me know if you can hear me okay. I just, forgot I didn't ask. I always gotta make sure to check the audio, because sometimes it's not so hot. Sometimes you can't hear me at all. Can you guys hear me? Let me know in the comments section. / chat room. Good, okay. Alright, so... I guess my guess is Brian Cage is in like a holding pattern until a spot in the main events opens up. Which, again, makes me really question the decision to turn Aries heel and switch the belt to Pentagon. I don't know what they're going for with that. If it's to help cultivate the relationship with Lucha Underground, okay, but I just think there are better ways to do it than cutting off Austin Aries right when he had momentum. And a lot of people were kind of praising this decision to bring him in and put the world title on him. It just seems like an odd decision to me, but we'll see. Next, the Eddie Edwards-Sami Callihan feud. What is, in my opinion, probably the best feud in wrestling right now, at least in the mainstream companies. I really got to praise them for this. They took an unfortunate accident and injury, which was a shoot, and turned it into a pretty damn compelling feud, I have to say. And I think a lot of this is thanks to Sami Callihan. I imagine he has a ton of input into this thing. You can see his fingerprints all over it. And the work this guy has been doing is tremendous. From everything from those guerrilla-style promos where he's holding the video camera and talking into it with OVE standing behind him, and just all the angles he's been doing, like the stuff in the hospital when he was just sitting there by Alicia's bedside, and his face is just beating all this shit, and he's like, I just want to talk. This is some genuinely creepy stuff they've been doing. And the stuff at the Ohio indie show, where Eddie tried to invade and they beat him down anyway, and the whole crowd behind him chanting, everything, everything. This has been some of the best stuff on any wrestling show I've seen recently. This is great stuff. And this is coming from a guy who's never really thought Eddie Edwards was that compelling of a character. But this is all Sami Callihan, really, and they've turned Eddie Edwards into something pretty interesting here. Through this feud. However, I do wonder if maybe they're going a little off the rails with it. Because we saw this past Thursday how Eddie is really going off the deep end because of everything that's happened with Sami and Alicia and all that stuff. And he basically gets on the mic, he says, well, if I don't get OVE, I'm going to go to Ohio and put their wives in the hospital. It's like, oh boy. That's where it gets uncomfortable for me. Because I see what they're doing. They're showing that Eddie has become so incensed that he's kind of losing it. He's like a madman now. He's not thinking clearly. All he can see, he's not even thinking about Alicia right now. All he can think about is getting revenge on OVE and Sami Callihan. And in the process, he's going off the deep end, and maybe they're even going to do some kind of double turn here. Okay. But if they're not going for an Eddie Edwards heel turn in all of this, then I think they might have gone too far with that. Because even if he is kind of a madman now, he still has to be a madman that you can sympathize with. And when he's threatening to put innocent women in the hospital, that's when he is no longer sympathetic to me. So I see what they're going for. I see what they're trying to do, but they gotta tread very carefully here because it's going to an uncomfortable place now, and that might defeat the purpose of it. Again, it's hard saying that because we don't really know how far they're going to go or what the purpose or the plan for Eddie Edwards is exactly. But threatening innocent women, I don't know. We got to wait and see. But that was the one part where I wouldn't think they went too far with that, guys. But everything else in this feud is fantastic. Attacking Sami Callihan while he's laid up in a hospital bed. Great stuff. Great stuff. This is the most interesting Eddie Edwards has ever been for me. But again, you don't have to threaten the innocent women. That's not necessary. DJZ, he's back. Well, he's coming back. He's back already. Great hype video, just chronicling like the injuries that he had and whatnot. Made him a very sympathetic guy. Made him look like a star that we're excited to have back. And I mean, he had been doing great work before he got injured. Like the best work I'd seen from him in his entire time in the company. And to have him back, I'm excited for him, man. I know some things about what he's going to do, and I'm happy they've got a role for him. And he was always felt like a guy who could have felt like one of those guys who could transcend the X Division and do more than just being just an X Division guy. And it looks like they're going to give him a shot. I'm really happy for him. And yeah, just welcome back DJZ. We had Braxton Sutter versus Moose. Kind of a foregone conclusion since we found out earlier, before that aired, that Sutter is now gone from the company, which is kind of a shame because I thought he was really starting to click as a heel. Way more interesting than he was as a face. It would seem like he was really starting to figure out his persona, and he had been doing some entertaining stuff, and then suddenly he's just gone. It kind of sucks. So yeah, no shocking Moose went over there. It's unfortunate. I thought, yeah, they finally figured out what to do with Braxton Sutter, and then suddenly he's just gone. It's kind of a waste. We have Allie versus Taya Valkyrie for the Knockouts title, and this one was strange because Allie wins in like less than 5 minutes, and I don't. That felt like a mistake to me. I'm not. Now I wanted Allie to retain, but I don't know. It feels like Taya's really been scaled back because they brought her in as like a pretty big deal. And suddenly, I mean, she's taken a bunch of high-profile losses in a row. Lost to Rosemary, now losing to Allie in pretty short order. Now, I'm not saying she should have won that match, but I'm not saying Allie should have beat her so easily. Because part of the appeal of Allie is that she's an underdog. And yeah, her character has grown and evolved kind of beyond that now, but I don't think she should be beating somebody like Taya that quickly and that easily. She should still be, struggling to beat people on that level, I think. Because there's a temptation to make Allie stronger so as to push her again to like top knockout status. Not that she doesn't have that status already, but you always have to reconcile like the previous Allie character with what they're doing now. And people got behind Allie initially because she was this charming, adorable underdog. And she's not really that person anymore, and you want to keep enough of it so that people can still relate to her in that sense. And I think they kind of lost that a little bit. So if she's going to be beating Taya, so be it. But give it some more time. And give it, like, at least 10 minutes. And you would have had more time if they weren't devoting so much time to these GWN segments. And I don't know what they're doing with these, because it feels like these GWN segments go on for several minutes at a time, which is just baffling to me because they're showing way too much. You want people to get the GWN? Here's what you do: you get, for each of these GWN segments, pick a classic match like the Unbreakable. Like the Unbreakable main event, or something like that. Just off the top of my head. Quick clips. Just the exciting parts. Like the big spots. The big holy shit moments. 30 to 45 seconds of that, and then boom. Buy the GWN. Boom. End it. Just like that. Instead, they're showing like 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes of these matches. And it's too much. You just want to whet their appetite. Just show the best, most exciting parts and then get out. It should not take several minutes to show these things. 30 to 45 seconds, that's how long these segments should be. Less is more in this case, all right? Because as it is, they're eating up way too much time. Because Allie versus Taya really should have been longer than it was. Like twice as long, if not more. Because Taya should not be losing that quickly. So, anyway, Allie wins the match, and then we get some Undertaker-type shit with like these corpse zombie bride people come bringing the coffin out, and then Su Yung attacks her. Okay. So Sue attacks Allie, lays her out, lights go off, Rosemary shows up, big pop for Rosemary, big reaction to her, lights go off again, Sue's gone. So they want to do Rosemary versus Su Yung. And I'm not saying they shouldn't, because obviously there was a huge reaction to that, and Sue really didn't get a reaction when she attacked Allie, but Rosemary shows up, suddenly there's a huge pop. The only issue I have with this is that from the moment Sue showed up, I knew this was going to be an issue. Their gimmicks are too damn similar. Because you look at Sue, white zombie face paint, black and red hair. Look at Rosemary, white zombie face paint, black and red hair. They look too much alike. So much so that it's going to invite comparisons, and I guarantee you, Sue is going to come out on, like, the unflattering end of those comparisons, because she's not going to be able to outdo Rosemary in this regard. So, I think it would behoove them to differentiate Sue Young from Rosemary. I'm not saying change the gimmick completely. I have a few reservations about it, but if it works for her, fine. I'm not saying change it if it's working, but just add some different twists to it so she at least looks distinct. Because right now she just looks like Rosemary. And people are going to view her as a Rosemary copycat or knockoff or whatever. So, make her look a little different. Like, change the face paint design. I don't know. Just make her look like a separate character. Make her look like her own person, her own character, instead of just trying to look like she's cosplaying as Rosemary or something like that. Because if you just line them up next to each other, people are just going to pick Rosemary every time. Because no one's going to be able to do Rosemary better than Rosemary does. They're just not. So, I'm interested to see that. I know Rosemary's knee is not, I don't know if she's, like, cleared to wrestle right now. I know she worked in Indy recently in a tag match where she didn't really do that much, tagged in just for, like, a little bit and didn't take any bumps. So obviously, obviously the knee is still not 100%, and she probably can't do much. So they're probably having to book around the injury right now, but it is encouraging that they're keeping her in the limelight instead of just taking her off TV like they did with Diamante. By the way, Diamante is clear to wrestle now. She was wrestling at, she did an explosion match at the TV tapings, which I'm very happy about. I can't wait to see her back in the ring. But we got, I guess that's going to be the big feud now that Rosemary Taya is wrapped up. And it seems like Taya's just kind of fallen by the wayside now, which is strange. I thought they had bigger plans for her. And it seems obvious enough to me that Rosemary versus Allie is the ultimate goal here, probably Bound for Glory, assuming they stay healthy. Which I don't know if that's a great idea. I mean, it's going to happen at some point, but I don't know if that's the way they should be going when the two are as over as they are as friends, and this Demon Bunny thing has taken off the way it has. I mean, there were Demon Bunny chants when Rosemary saved Allie in the Impact Zone. You know how hard it is to get a rise out of those people, but they were chanting Demon Bunny, and is that something you want to lose? I would think you want to cultivate that as long as you can if it's working. So I figure, you know, Rosemary eventually takes the title from Sue Young, and then they build up to Rosemary Alley for the title. I know it's going to happen eventually. I'm hesitant. Maybe just hold off on it for a while, and because I mean the Demon Bunny thing is working for you, so why change it? But I feel like that's the way they're going. But I don't know. We'll see. You know, they got other women coming in there to kind of stir the pot. Maybe they can go in some different directions. They got Tessa Blanchard in there now, which is cool. And, well, not going to spoil anything for the people who don't want to be spoiled. Because I try to maintain a no-spoiler policy, because not everybody reads the show reports. But, yeah. They got Tessa Blanchard in there. She showed up at the pay-per-view. And that'll be great from an in-ring standpoint. I guess the big question with Tessa is, can she keep her attitude under control? Because that's a lot of people say that about her. She's got attitude problems. She got an ego problem, whatever. If she can keep that shit under control, because obviously there's a reason why WWE didn't want her. And, you know, it's not because she's not talented. So if she keeps her attitude under control, they got a great knockout right there, and they could put her in the mix too, and they can make some different combinations there, and we'll see. We'll see. But short term, like Su Yung looks like their new top heel, and okay, just tweak the gimmick a little bit. You don't have to make her look so much like Rosemary. It would be better for her and better for this feud if you could differentiate her somewhat. At least change the face paint design and change the hair. Because right now you got two women who look very much alike, and I don't feel like it's as effective as it could be if she were looking different. Anyway, also we have Eli Drake and Scott Steiner as the new tag team champions, feuding with LAX, and Conan is currently missing, and which so leaves the LAX without their leader, and so they're off. They're a little off center right now, which leads to Eli Drake and Scott Steiner retaining their tag team championships. And I guess LAX really did need to lose the titles because, like I said, tag team division's very barren right now. And there's only so much you can do with LAX as the champions with very little competition. That's why I think they missed the boat with the Cult of Lee. I don't know why that feud was kind of started and then stopped so quickly, and they could have gotten more mileage out of that. But they just decided to have Trevor and Caleb Conley as, comic relief bad guys. Not that they weren't funny, but why would you want to book them that way when they could have been more effective and booked stronger against LAX? Especially when you need strong tag teams right now. It didn't make sense to me. But right now, LAX, they don't have their leader, they don't have Conan, they're off their game, which leads to Eli Drake and Scott Steiner capitalizing. They're the new tag team champions. And okay, elephant in the room. Yeah, they put a title belt on Scott Steiner. Obviously, you're not going to get any 4-star matches out of the guy at this point. He crossed that line a long time ago, years ago. But given the state of the tag team division, they had to go in a different direction. And if they have Eli Drake carry the team from an in-ring standpoint and just have Steiner focusing on like slow bursts of offense, like a short burst of offense, and cutting entertaining promos with Eli Drake, maybe this can work in the short term. I don't really have a problem with it because the situation with the tag team division is what it is. And right now, a win for Scott Steiner is a win for Eli Drake, so I'm okay with this. I don't expect them to hold the titles very long, but if it's keeping Eli Drake in the limelight, giving him something to do, and then, okay. I'm not going to say no to Eli Drake having a title belt. And plus he's still got that world title briefcase. Speaking of which, they retain their belts, and then Austin Aries comes out. And believe it or not, Eli Drake kind of owned Aries on the mic here. he completely showed up Austin Aries. So kudos to Eli Drake. Because I want him to get that world title back, goddammit. I also want Aries to get it back. But I don't know. Right now, I don't know what they're going for with Aries. I think he should still be a face, and I also think he should still have the world title. I don't get it with the Pentagon thing. I really don't. But it's a wait and see right now. So right now, I think this past Thursday Impact was pretty good. It was not a bad show. Wouldn't say it was a great show, but overall, I mean, the regime of D'Amore and Don Callis has produced some pretty solid television. I mean, week in, week out, Impact has been quite solid. It's a quite good show. I don't think there's been a bad show of the bunch. They've been very, very consistent so far. And that's something this show has not had in a long time, is consistency. I'm very much enjoying this so much more than the Jarrett era shows we got before this. I think Scott D'Amore and Don Callis really know what they're doing. I think the current creative gestalt, whatever it is working. I suspect they got Jimmy Jacobs working in creative now, which is only going to be a good thing. I'm not digging the Congo Kong stuff so much. That's, he's not connecting for me. But overall, these are good shows. I thought this was a pretty good show, and I like the direction they're going in. I think they still got a lot of work and a lot of rebuilding to do, but they're going in the right direction. So overall, I enjoyed Impact this week. So, you guys wanted me to talk about wrestling? There you go. But I got a lot of other stuff to talk about, such as Avengers Infinity War. Movie 10 years in the making, the culmination of everything we've seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe up to this point. For the last 10 years. I think this was the 19th movie of the MCU. So this is what everything has been building up to. All 19 movies have been building up to this, to Thanos, to the Infinity Gauntlet, and holy shit, I didn't think there was any way they could take all these moving parts, build up to this one gigantic event, and have it deliver, but my god, it delivers and then some. Avengers Infinity War is fucking awesome! 2.5-hour movie, and it feels like 90 minutes. Everything about this movie works. They have so many different characters. They get cast. They've got characters from just about every movie. Ant-Man, he wasn't in this one. He's going to be in the next one. And Hawkeye sat this one out again because of story reasons. I'm going to spoil the fuck out of Infinity War right now, okay? So if you don't want Infinity War spoilers, mute the sound for the next couple of minutes. This is your spoiler warning for that movie. Because there's no other way I can talk about this than by spoiling the fuck out of it. Alright, so here's my thoughts on Infinity War. Spoiler warning, engage. Alright. First of all, it's a very funny movie. And they don't run, but thankfully they don't run into the problem that I had with Thor Ragnarok. As good as Ragnarok was, I thought the humor was too much. Because I've said this before, but I thought the humor just kind of overrode everything else, and it kind of undercut the dramatic moments. Because when things needed to be dramatic, they were funny, when they shouldn't have been. That's not a problem here, because there is a lot of humor, and it's great humor. I was laughing out loud numerous times, but when it had to be dramatic, it got fucking dramatic. And there are some emotional gut punches in this movie that knock you over. Because, again, spoiler alert, a lot of people die in this movie. A lot of people. And we know obviously some of them, if not most of them, are coming back because they got more movies to make with these people, but some of these, I suspect, are going to be permanent. And I was struck by this weird comparison. There was an event in the Ultimate Comics, back when the Ultimate Universe was still a thing, in Marvel Comics. Or I forget what the event called. I think it was Decimation, where they basically just flipped over every table and started killing off characters left and right, so they could just turn the Ultimate Universe into something very, very different. And that was the event, more than anything else, that just soured me on the entire Ultimate Universe and led to me dropping all the Ultimate titles. Because I thought they're destroying everything I liked about it. I had no desire to read it after that, because they killed off so many people and they ruined it. But it kind of felt similar to that in a sense, because a lot of people die. But what makes this work, whereas Decimation did not, is that somehow every death means something. Every death is impactful, and you feel the emotional weight of it every time this happens. Alright, and here come the spoilers for the deaths, alright? Loki, dead. Heimdall, dead. Gamora, dead. Whole lot of other people, fucking dead. And, some of them, again, they're coming back. But some of them, I suspect, are going to be permanent. And you feel the weight of that when it happens. And for a cast of characters this big, I don't know how they pulled that off. But goddamn, they did it. Man, everybody and not only that, everybody gets a moment to shine. Everybody gets the spotlight. Some more than others. Some characters do have to take a back seat, and it's kind of surprising which ones actually do in a few cases. Because certain characters get more spotlight than others. Like Doctor Strange gets a lot of cool stuff to do. The Guardians of the Galaxy are in there more than you might expect. Thor gets a lot of spotlight, and whereas other characters you don't see as much of. Black Widow, Bucky, Captain America. Surprisingly, he's in there, but he isn't. He's not as central a player as you might think. Not that he doesn't have an important role, he does, but others get focused on more for purposes of the story. But yeah, lots of twists and turns in the story. Specifically, Doctor Strange does something that kind of shocked me when he handed over the Time Stone to Thanos to save Tony's life. But I suspect that's where the twist is coming, because we saw him checking out all the possible, using the Time Stone, the Eye of Agamotto, to see like all the possible futures, and he checked like 14 million of them or something, and there's only one possible future where they beat Thanos, and I think that's why he gave a Time Stone to Thanos, because I think in that future, that possible future where they come out on top, Tony has to be alive in order to do that. So I think he gave Thanos the Time Stone to spare Tony, because Tony is going to play some kind of integral role and then coming out on top in Avengers 4. So I think that's why that happened. But yeah, this, more than anything else, this movie feels like a giant reward, which I said on Twitter. It feels like a reward for all the people, all the fans who stuck with the MCU from the beginning, because it goes back that far. There are cameos from characters that some people have probably forgotten about. Like Red Skull. My jaw hit the floor when fucking Red Skull showed up. I couldn't believe it. It's like, holy shit, that's where he's been this whole time. I can't believe he's still alive. And it's like, well, wait, why is he still alive? Hasn't it been like 70 years? I don't know. But I can't believe they went back and tied that up. I couldn't believe it. And all the cameos. Peter Dinklage! Peter fucking Dinklage is in this movie! It was, oh my god. Oh my god. Now, honestly, I could go on and on, but this movie took some balls to make. When a cliffhanger like that, when you have a cast of like just dozens of characters to service, and so many of them are dead by the end of it. It's like, how in the blue fuck are they gonna resolve this and come back and beat Thanos? And the answer is, well, in the stinger at the end, where right as he's disappearing, Fury signals Captain fucking Marvel. And how fucking cool was that? Where you see this, the pager beeper, whatever the hell it was, you see the Captain Marvel insignia on it. So Carol's gonna come in and she's gonna save everybody. That's fucking cool. I geeked out so much when that happened. So we got the Captain Marvel movie, I believe, next year, which will lead into Avengers 4. And I guess it's taking place in the 90s, so I don't know how they're going to resolve the time differential. Maybe when she gets her Kree powers, she ages more slowly. She's still alive. Maybe she's been off in space somewhere fighting the Kree and the Skrulls or whatever. And then she gets Fury's message and returns to Earth to help out everybody. So I don't know. But there's a promise that Carol Danvers is going to be in Avengers 4, and I'm fucking excited. I just hope hope Marvel manages to make a Captain Marvel comic book by then that doesn't suck on toast. Because right now those Captain Marvel comics are unreadable. So, staying in that vein, there's a new Venom trailer that came out recently. I did a trailer reaction video for the Venom teaser trailer, which was pretty underwhelming, to say the least. The trailer, not the video. You should go watch that video. But there is a new Venom trailer out, and which I found equally underwhelming. And I thought, what the hell? I didn't do a reaction video because I was doing other stuff, so why don't we just do a reaction right now? So, let's just call this up. I hope I don't get a copyright strike for this, but, okay. Nope, 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 nope. Oh wait, I forgot I have it on mute because of all that shit. Alright. Well. Alright, yeah. I gotta keep this on mute because when I turn the sound on, it gets... that's when you get all the distortion. So I don't know why that is. I never managed to figure that out. So, but I've already seen the trailer, so I will just watch it silently. Alright, so we got the symbiotes here, well, at least 2 of them. And we get the Life Foundation stuff here, so they're taken pretty heavily from, well, I don't know how heavily, but they're taken from the Lethal Protector miniseries. One of the great Venom stories in the comics, you should go read that one if you can find it somewhere. I have all those issues in my collection, and first thing I can say about this is it's very similar to the first trailer in that we only get like the smallest tease of Venom. We actually get to see Venom in this one, but for the most part, it's just Tom Hardy. So I suspect there is going to be very little actual Venom action in this movie, which is baffling because it's a Venom movie, and if you only have Venom show up for a few minutes, which is what I heard happens, what are you even making this movie for? Now, stupid question. They're making it for a fucking cash-in. fucking Amy Pascal, god damn it. So we see, okay, Tom Hardy on a motorcycle. Tom Hardy sitting in a restaurant with Michelle Williams. I don't know what Tom Hardy is going for with this accent, this American accent. The voice sounds bizarre. I think Roman from RNS Entertainment said he sounded autistic. Not the choice of words I would have used because of stuff I learned about myself recently, but I don't think he's far off. Maybe he's a little touched in the head. Eddie's supposed to be a little touched in the head or something, but the accent sounds bizarre. I don't know. It just sounds strange. I don't know what he's going for. I really don't. Now we got Tom Hardy. We got Tom Hardy walking around the streets. Tom Hardy being a journalist, interviewing Riz Ahmed, and investigating the Life Foundation. And this might mean something to people who remember the Lethal Protector miniseries. But if you don't know that, this isn't gonna. If you haven't read that story, it's not gonna mean anything to you. And you're already fighting an uphill battle because you're doing a Venom origin movie without Spider-Man. And again, how the fuck do you do a Venom origin movie without Spider-Man? And the answer is, you do it by butchering the origin story. That's the only way it works. Well, bad choice of words. It doesn't work, but that's the only way you could do it, is by changing everything. And as history has shown, changing everything is a surefire path to failure when it comes to these comic book movie adaptations. So we get Tom Hardy walking in the streets and going into a convenience store and meeting someone from the Life Foundation. And this woman who pronounced symbiotes wrong. We call them symbiotes. Oh, that's how you're pronouncing them? Really? Every form of media that we've ever seen has pronounced them differently, but now suddenly there's symbiotes? Fuck you. Ugh. It's like The Last Airbender again, where they changed his name to Ung. Now he's Ung. Yeah, fuck's sake. Fucking Hollywood executives think they know better than the fans about what's popular about this stuff. And, okay, more Life Foundation, and again, just nothing of Venom here. You know, this, I gotta say, this thing looks very low budget. It looks very low budget. They're going for like the horror, creeper, thriller vibe to it, and you're not really seeing a lot of action here. The whole thing looks very low budget until things start happening, the eyes glaze over, and you start hearing the Venom, the symbiote voice talk to him, and I'm not crazy about the voice. I always liked it in the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon when they did the Black Costume Saga and the symbiotes. We saw the symbiote was represented as like a dark version of Peter, and it talked to him in Peter's voice. And I thought that was perfect. Here, the symbiote has its own voice, and it just sounds really malevolent and evil, and again, it doesn't... it's not a decision I'm on board with. It just seems wrong to me. And, okay, here are people breaking into Eddie's apartment, and... the symbiote's attacking them, and it looks kind of cartoonish, if I'm being honest with you. And I got Eddie Brock on a motorcycle, Eddie Brock in a car chase, Eddie Brock walking down the streets of San Francisco, and the symbiote pulling Eddie into a wall, and the symbiote attacking cars on either side of Eddie, and again, we still don't see the full Venom suit. It's just black tendrils and stuff. And Eddie Brock running through a forest, being chased by cars. And Eddie Brock jumping out a window. And the symbiote kind of rising up onto his face, and then you see this something like smashing all these computers and stuff away. And what is going on with that? Didn't look like there were any symbiotes in there. So what's happening with that? Are they giving the symbiotes new powers and something? And Eddie popping a wheelie on a motorcycle and jumping over a hill and losing the motorcycle, and then the tendrils come out of the chest and then reattach him to the motorcycle and pull him back on, which looks really fucking cartoonish and silly. And finally, the symbiote suit forms over his face, and we see Venom, and it looks just like... It looks way too much like it did in Spider-Man 3. It looks like a big smiley face. I don't like the design of the Venom face. Why are the eyes so narrow? The eyes should like literally be covering like half of his face. Have you seen... Look at Mark Bagley's Venom from the comics. That's what Venom should fucking look like. It looks like a big smiley face. I don't like the look of Venom at all. Ugh. And then the tongue that looks like a big dick. Oh boy. Yeah, that tongue looks way too phallic, I'm sorry. Oh boy. Yeah. Still not impressed at all. I've said it before and I'll say it again. This movie is going to suck. They didn't make this movie for the right reasons. They made it as a cash-in. Because that's the way Amy Pascal thinks. You think you can just twist Venom around and give us this half-assed Venom, completely change the origin, don't have Spider-Man involved at all, and you think it'll work? Fuck you, Amy Pascal. You don't know shit. I can't wait for Marvel to get the rights back to the Spider-Man franchise. And eventually they will. They got a working arrangement with Sony right now so they can use Spider-Man in the MCU. But Kevin Feige's on a mission. He wants all the Marvel properties back. They're going to get the X-Men and the Fantastic Four back. I think it's going to take like a year or two for the deal to go through, but they're getting the X-Men back. God damn it. And once they get that, they're going to want Spider-Man back. They're going to buy the rights back, or maybe Disney will just buy Sony or something. But sooner or later, they're going to get the rights back, and then maybe we'll get the real Venom, because this is not the real Venom. And you know, I have absolutely no faith in this movie whatsoever. Absolutely none. Venom, the movie, is going to suck. I'm sorry if you feel differently, but I have absolutely no faith that they're going to pull this off, and you shouldn't either. All the warning signs are there, guys. All of them. Every single one. And what else? Okay. Speaking of Marvel Comics, something I wanted to mention to you guys. I've talked about this before. I have a kind of a love-hate relationship with the Marvel's comics division right now. Because a couple years ago, comics division under the leadership of Axel Alonso, the former editor-in-chief, now thank God, Marvel went full SJW with their comics, and their comics line basically turned to the drizzling shits. It was terrible. Absolutely fucking terrible. quality just dropped off a roof, dropped off a cliff, took a fucking nosedive into a bottomless pit of suck. Now, they've got new editor-in-chief now, C.B. Cebulski. Things are improving somewhat. They still got a ways to go. So, the way I felt about Marvel Comics, time was I was getting Marvel Comics every single week, single issues, and then after a while I scaled back to just getting the trades, and a while after that I scaled back to not getting anything, because again, the quality had gotten so horrible. And it sucks because I miss Marvel Comics, specifically X-Men, Spider-Man. I wanted to come back, but I said to myself, no, they're not getting any more of my money until the quality drastically improves. Because a lot of the shit they're doing right now just feels like a slap in the face to me. I have come back for one title. That's a step. It's a step in the right direction. I'm hoping it continues, because I want to come back full time, so I can start buying, so I can start, resume my relationship with Marvel Comics. But I came back for one title. I was reluctant to check it out, but I saw good reviews, I read good things, heard a lot of positive word of mouth. I came back for Kelly Thompson's Rogue and Gambit miniseries. If you haven't checked that out, you should. Now, those characters and that relationship between them, that was a big part of my love affair with the X-Men. Now, this is stemming from back when I was a kid, watching the X-Men, the animated series, and I loved those two characters, loved that romance between them. And that was one of the things that sucked me into the X-Men comics initially. And it seems like in recent years, Marvel has been doing everything possible to just shit on those characters and that relationship and invalidate everything they meant to each other. I'm like, guys, I'm not sticking around for this. This is a slap in the face. I'm not giving you any more of my money until shit like this stops. This is like Peter and MJ all over again. So when I heard that there was a Rogue and Gambit miniseries being made, I had zero interest. I thought, well, they're gonna pull a Peter and MJ is what they're doing. They suck you in with a little tease, give you a little bit of hope that they might try to give this relationship a little respect finally, and then just end it for good, and just fucking point and laugh at you. It's actually not what happened. Apparently, this writer Kelly Thompson is a huge fan of the relationship back in the day. I think I heard somewhere that she had like panels from X-Men 24, number 24, like wallpapered her room with it or something like that. So she's a big fan of the relationship. I checked it out, and this writer actually did her fucking homework and really just has like an in-depth knowledge of the history of these characters and the relationship and what they mean to each other. And she's the first writer I can remember in a long time that actually treats this relationship and these characters with respect and not just splitting them apart and treating them like garbage and whatever, because so many writers have been doing that. Because these characters haven't been written well in ages, as far as I'm concerned, until now. I found these issues online. I will buy the trade paperback when it comes out. If we can make this a regular series, I will buy every issue. It's actually really, really good. And she's resuscitated the Gambit-Rogue relationship, which I'm so happy about. And if you're a fan of those characters, you should buy this book. I want the sales to go up. I want this to be a regular series, and if it is, I will actually buy it. I will come back to Marvel Comics and I will buy it because it's actually good. And I can't say that about so many Marvel books these days. And again, C.B. Cebulski, he's got his work cut out for him because Axel Alonso just left Marvel Comics a giant dumpster fire that Cebulski is still putting out. And it's been slow going, but the signs are there that Marvel could come back and make good comics again. And this is one of them. Buy this book. So, because, the Gambit and Rogue, they were a big part of my love affair with the X-Men for a long time as a kid. And reading this miniseries, this took me back to that. So I want more books like this. Buy that book. Rogue and Gambit miniseries. Buy it. And was there anything else? Yeah, that's all the talking points that I had. You know what? Actually, let me open a window. It's getting a little kind of warm in here. Ah. Weather's still very strange. Sometimes it's warm, sometimes it's cold. Can't make up its mind. We were getting snow as late as like 2 weeks ago. It's weird. Okay, so what is up with you guys in the chat room? Yeah, the Saudi Arabia thing pisses me off. They went to a place where if the women on their roster were in their ring gear, they could be beat with clubs and tossed in jail. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but money talks. And I think Saudi Arabian government paid WWE something like what was like $20 million or something for doing that show. Yeah, so the women's revolution can suck it. It tells you everything you need to know. So WWE were really serious about respecting all their women now and treating them as like equal to the men. They wouldn't have gone to Saudi Arabia. But you know, they got a big enough payout. They're going to go there, and they're just not going to mention it. Now, disrespect to women? Fuck it. We got paid. We don't care. That's their mentality. Because ultimately, this whole women's revolution of WWE is just a big smoke. It's just smoke and mirrors. They didn't really mean it. They're doing it because it's fashionable, because it's the in thing, because it's popular. They're doing it for social media points. That's all they're really doing it. That's why. They could have been, making an effort to, make the women a big part of the show a long time ago. Gail Kim said this. They could have been doing this a long time ago. They didn't care. They're doing it now because it's the popular thing. Let's see. Let's see. Taya looks like she's gained some weight. Yeah, I noticed that too. She's looking a little thicker. I don't know what happened there. I have noticed that. I didn't want to be that guy who calling her out on her weight because Taya still looks great, but I have noticed that she's thicker a little bit. And I stand it. I don't know. Maybe hit the treadmill a little bit. Not that she looks out of shape or anything, but it is noticeable. How would you put the X-Men in the MCU? Well, I guess, the MCU has been a thing for long enough now that you can't just say that mutants have been there the whole time. That just feels like a retcon. Best way to do it, I think, would be when they get the Infinity Gauntlet off of Thanos, they use it to change everything that he changed back, but after Avengers 4, due to the Infinity Gauntlet's effect on the universe, something has changed. The world is different now. Like, they put it back the way it was, but not exactly the way it was. Something is different. And that's where mutants come from. Like, something about the universe has been altered. They couldn't put it back, for whatever reason, they couldn't put it back exactly the way they couldn't put it back exactly the way it was before, but they got it close enough. But things are different, and now mutants are a thing because of it. And that's how you can do the X-Men. I think that's the best way to go about that. Yeah, Venom movie is not a bad idea, but Sony should have introduced him in a Spider-Man movie. Yeah, exactly. Because Venom is not a character you can just do a solo movie right off the bat for. He needs setup. Because you got to do the whole black costume saga, and you got to build up Eddie Brock as a character. They didn't want to do any of that. They just did, no, fuck it, we'll just do a Venom solo movie, wham, bam, boom. People will watch it. No, they're not going to. This movie's going to suck, and it's going to bomb. because they clearly don't understand the character. They don't appreciate or respect the character's history. And if you don't do that, it's not really Venom. Right now, it's Tom Hardy action thriller movie. It doesn't even look good. It looks cheap and cartoonish in places. Let's see. Thought this channel was done and dusted. Oh no, it's not done. I'm still here. You know, I'm working on the other channel right now. By the way, check the link in the description box. Go subscribe to that channel. But I'm not going anywhere. I'm still around. I'll still be doing videos. Maybe not as frequently as I used to, but when I got stuff to talk about, I'm going to be here. Let's see. Thoughts on Josh Matthews and Don Callis commentary. So far, so good. I think I was in the minority in that I thought Josh and Sanjay Dutt were actually gelling pretty well together. Not that Sanjay was great or anything, but I thought with what he lacked in polish as an announcer, I thought he made up for in enthusiasm. Because love him or hate him, at least he sounded excited about what he was watching, and that helped a lot. That made a difference. But Don Callis, all right, this works. I'm enjoying it so far, very much so. Diamante could be the new lei'd if she doesn't get hurt anymore. Absolutely. Absolutely. I felt a lot of similarities to Diamante when she was before she got injured. The way she would interfere in LAX's matches and do the high spots and shit. I actually think Diamante is quite a lot better than lei'd was. I always thought lei'd was kind of overrated personally. But yeah, I'm very high on Diamante. And no, I don't have a mullet. Not really. And the hair is long now. But I've been trimming it in the back. I guess I could stand to do it more, but it's not a mullet, it's just really long now. I've been wondering when the time is going to come to cut it all off again. Because, there's loose hairs all over the place now. But I kind of like it long, honestly. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's see. The end of LAX versus Steiner and Eli Drake was so bad. Scott was supposed to grab Ortiz's leg. Ortiz basically dog paddled during the pin. It looked so bad. Yeah. Look, you want to have a tag belts on Scott Steiner and Eli Drake. You're not doing it for 4-star matches. You're doing it for the entertaining promos. And you're doing it because a win for Steiner is a win for Eli Drake. That's why you're doing it. And again, they don't have a lot of options with the tag team division right now. They've got LAX at the top, and LAX are great, but there's only so much you can do with them without a division around them, which they still don't really have. You got OVE, they did everything they could with that feud for a while. They can reignite it later on, but right now we got OVE doing their own thing, and they're actually doing really well where they are right now. And there's also the Cult of Lee, which, again, they could have done more with that feud, but for whatever reason they didn't want to. And then there's Steiner and Eli Drake. And that's it. Until the Dizzy Hit Squad shows up. If they ever do. I don't know where they are. They announced these guys, months ago, feels like. And they still haven't showed up. So I don't know what's going on with that. But, they gotta give LAX something to do. So, in the short term, Steiner and Eli Drake. You're not going to get 5-star matches out of them, but if you have Eli Drake carry the action, and you have Steiner cutting entertaining promos, and again, just participating in the in-ring action in short bursts and not really doing all that much, just let Eli Drake carry it. I think this can sustain them in the short term. As long as you know what to expect. I'm not saying that Steiner is going to deliver 4-star matches. No one should expect that. But if you can book around Steiner's weaknesses and just accentuate the strengths, it won't be that bad. It won't be that bad. Seth Steiner can barely move. Yeah, he's been barely able to move for a long time. Like I said, just know what you're getting. Know what to expect. Infinity War was Empire Strikes Back of this generation. Yeah, I've heard that comparison more than once. It's very fitting. Let's see. Do you think the end of Infinity War will affect S.H.I.E.L.D.'s season finale? If so, will it happen to? I don't think so. Now the movie, Marvel's movie and TV divisions have kind of separated. And that all stemmed from a disagreement over, I believe, Civil War and the budget for Civil War. And Kevin Feige, whatever happened in that, Kevin Feige got tired of reporting to Ike Perlmutter, and he went to Disney and said, "Look, I want to report directly to you guys. I don't want to deal with Ike Perlmutter anymore." And so now the movie and TV divisions are separate. And that's why we're not seeing crossovers anymore with the characters from the movie showing up on the show. Those have kind of cut out. Now the show is kind of its own entity. And they might make mention of people disappearing all over the world, but if you're asking me if any of the S.H.I.E.L.D. team will, disappear into dust because of the Infinity Gauntlet in the finale, my guess is no. They might make mention of it, but I don't think anyone on the team will disappear. And I don't think I'd want them to, because this may be the last season. I've been expecting it to be the last season, but now there's rumblings of it might continue on past this. We don't know yet. But who knows? Me personally, that's not really something that I would want, because there isn't really anything that the S.H.I.E.L.D. team can do to resolve that, and it won't get resolved until next year. So if someone on the S.H.I.E.L.D. team were to disappear, then the show continued on for another season, then anyone who disappeared wouldn't be able to appear in the next season. So I think it's best to just keep the team there and not have it affect them. Let's see. I teared up when Spider-Man said, "I don't want to go." Oh, yeah. I didn't touch on this, but all the deaths, when people start disappearing at the end, again, spoiler alert for Infinity War, all the deaths, they really hit you, and there's some shocking disappearances there, but the one that hit me hardest was Peter, because, he has that kind of surrogate father-son thing with Tony that they built up a lot in Spider-Man Homecoming. And we know Peter really looks up to Tony a lot, and Tony kind of took the place of Uncle Ben a little bit. And when Peter is scared and he's crying, he says, "I don't want to go." It's oh, God damn it, that hit me, because even you know he's coming back. He's got two more movies, two more Spider-Man solo movies, but still, I mean, Spider-Man's my boy. He's oh, God damn it. That one hit me hard. Even though I know he's coming back, it's like, oh, God, son of a bitch. It's another one of those movies like Guardians of the Galaxy 2, where like in 1 minute you're laughing out loud, and the next you're tearing up. It's that good. I suspect James Gunn had his fingerprints on this movie too, because we know that James Gunn kind of took over for Joss Whedon as one of the MCU's like architects. So he's kind of like the new Joss Whedon now. I suspect he had a lot of influence on this script, and the use of the humor was very, very James Gunn-esque, and those emotional beats, they hit you pretty hard too, and that was one of them. You think the events of Infinity War will have any sort of knock-on effect on the Netflix shows and S.H.I.E.L.D.? I don't think so. Because again, there's nothing those shows can do to resolve that. If any characters disappear, then they're disappeared until next year, when Avengers 4 comes out. So there would be no point in having any of those characters disappear, because they can't resolve that on their own. How great was it to see Tyrion as a giant? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's bigger than Thor, and yet somehow he's still playing a dwarf. Oh, boy. I'm marked out for Red Skull 2, jaw dropped. Yeah, wasn't that amazing? I never in a million years thought we would see Red Skull again. I'm not sure how he's still alive. You think he would have died of old age by now? But no, I didn't even care. I mean, he's guarding the Soul Stone. It's just to tie up that loose thread. It's like, well, we always wondered, where did Red Skull go? Is he out there somewhere? You finally found out. It's like, I can't believe they tied that up. This was for fans of continuity. This was the reward for all the fans who had watched from the beginning and wondered about little things like that, like where did Red Skull go, or where's this person, or where's that character. They tie up so many things. It was amazing. Like, things that I didn't even consider. They were referenced here. Captain Marvel, March 8th. Yeah, okay. What do you think about Peter from Deadpool? I don't know. I think the Spider-Man Deadpool comics, yeah, I haven't read those. Like I said, I left Marvel Comics a while ago. I've been waiting for them to come. I've been waiting for them to get better so I can come back. Like I said, I'm back for the Rogan Gambit miniseries because it's that fucking good. And I repeat, go buy that miniseries right fucking now. But for stuff like Spider-Man and Deadpool, yeah, I'm not reading that. And Marvel's still got a lot of work to do. Like this Return of Wolverine thing, for example. I don't even know why they're bothering. Because did you really miss Wolverine while he was gone? I don't see how you could, since there's like so many different copies of Wolverine running around. Okay, actual Wolverine was gone, but there's also Old Man Logan, and there's X-23, and there's fucking Dakin, and Jimmy Hudson, the Wolverine from Ultimate Universe is there now for some fucking reason. Then there's Honey Badger, like a kidified little kitty clone of X-23 or some shit like that. There's fucking 5 different Wolverines. I'm probably forgetting a few of them. So why bother even bringing the real Wolverine back? You didn't even get a chance to miss him with all these fucking copies running around. The whole point of killing a character off is so people can miss them while they're gone. But you can't do that. There's nothing special about Wolverine anymore. He's just one face in a crowd of Wolverines. And this is a problem they have with a lot of characters. It's a problem with Spider-Man. How many different Spider-Men are there right now? There's Peter Parker, Miles Morales, Miguel O'Hara, Ben Reilly. I think Kane is still around there somewhere. And then there's fucking Spider-Gwen and all that Spider-Verse nonsense. It's all just too fucking much. If I was editor-in-chief of Marvel, I'd say, one of the first things I'd say, well, get rid of all the fucking copies. Our characters don't feel special and unique anymore. We need to go back to having one of each. Kill all the Wolverine clones. You can keep X-23, just make it Wolverine and X-23, and that's it. Jimmy Hudson, Old Man Logan, Dagan, fucking kill him off. Get rid of him. I don't want to see him again. Alright, Spider-Man. Alright, same deal. We got too many fucking Spider-Men. I like Ben Reilly, but do we really need him? If they were going to bring Ben Reilly back, it should have been a long time ago, back when people were asking for it. Right now, I don't know what the purpose of Ben Reilly is right now. Maybe shunt him to like an alternate Earth or something. And I always liked Miguel O'Hara. I loved the Spider-Man 2099 series, the original one by Peter David. But if you want to keep him around, send him back to 2099. Have him be the Spider-Man of the future, actually in the future. If you want Miles Morales, okay, so be it. People seem to generally be okay with Miles. I think the worst thing I've heard about him is that he's just kind of bland. But if you want Miles Morales, fine. Just call him something else. Call him Spider-Boy or a Kid Arachneon or something. I don't fucking know, but he shouldn't be Spider-Man. You know why? Because Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Okay, it was fine when when in the Ultimate Universe when Peter died, and that was bullshit, by the way. But he was that made Miles the only Spider-Man, so he could get away with that. But why is he Spider-Man now when he's in the 616 universe and Peter is there and still a Spider? What? They're both Spider-Man now? It's stupid. You want Miles Morales? Fine, just call him something else. Give him a different name, a different identity. Stop having him leech his identity off of fucking Peter Parker. Spider-Gwen, get rid of her. Get rid of all these fucking copies. Make these characters unique again. When like the most unique characters you have are just faces in a crowd, that's a fucking problem. The symbiotes, same thing with the fucking symbiotes. Get rid of all these goddamn symbiotes. Like they're all over the fucking place. It's just one event after another where like every character and their brother is getting a fucking symbiote. It's just too goddamn much. Get rid of all the fucking symbiotes. You can keep Venom, keep Carnage. Get rid of the other ones. I don't want to see any more fucking symbiotes. Back then, like back in the day, when a new symbiote character showed up, it was a big fucking deal. Remember all that? Remember like the introduction of Carnage? That first like that original 3-parter that introduced Carnage. I have those issues right over there somewhere. That was a great fucking story. And when Carnage showed up, it was a big fucking deal. Now a new symbiote character shows up, it's like, so what? There's fucking 50 of them. At least. Or more. Do you really give a shit if a new symbiote character shows up now? No, you don't. No one does. There's a million of them. There's just too many copies. It's just too much of a good thing. Just get rid of all the other symbiotes, just make it Venom and Carnage for a while, and just keep it that way. I mean, keep it that way for a good couple of years. Make them feel special again, and then, if you want to introduce another one, make it like the best introduction of a new symbiote character fucking ever, and don't go overboard with it. Get rid of all the other symbiote characters, get rid of all the Spider-Man copies, all the Wolverine copies, and make these characters fucking unique. How can Captain Marvel save everybody in Avengers 4? I don't know. Well, she can probably help with transporting all the survivors to wherever Thanos is so they can take another crack at him. Beyond that, don't know. Are you going to review the Orville on your other review channel eventually? I like your Supergirl reviews. I'd like to see what you think of the Orville. You know, I've had some requests to review the Orville, actually. I don't know. There's a few things holding me back on that one. Number one, I don't really have any strong feelings about the Orville. I think... your feelings on the Orville probably depend on your feelings for Star Trek. And I like Star Trek. I've watched a good bit of it. I own all the TOS movies. But I don't... Star Trek doesn't inspire like those passionate feelings that I think a reviewer I think I would need to make a good review. Also, SF Debris is reviewing the Orville now, and I can't equal what he does. So I know this now, that no matter what I did, if I were to try to review the Orville, SF Debris is going to do it better. I think I'm better off not trying to copy him. So for the time being, I think I should stay in my wheelhouse, which is like the comic book superhero type stuff. But I would like to branch out eventually. There are other shows that I would like to cover in this format, like The Magicians, for example. I'd like to review The Magicians. I was thinking about possibly The Expanse, other stuff like that. But SF Debris has got the Star Trek stuff covered. That's his territory. And you can put the Orville in there too. It's basically Star Trek, but I've watched a few episodes of The Orville. I don't dislike it. I think it's fine. I don't know if I see what everybody else sees in it, but it's good. I just don't feel intensely about it one way or the other, and that's the problem. Because I feel like with the superhero type shows, I feel like I can review this. I watched an episode of The Flash. I'm like, oh, I can just tear that show apart for like 20 minutes and not run out of things to say. Because I don't love it, I fucking hate it, but I feel strongly about it. I think in order to make good reviews, I have to feel strongly about a show one way or the other. And for The Orville, I don't really. What are your thoughts on hashtag change the channel? I think it's really unfortunate. Just speaking as a person who wanted to be a producer for Channel Awesome for a long time, just to find out all these things that we now know about them and their business practices and the way they treat people who work for them, is just it sucks. And like all their producers are gone. I think it's just Brad Jones and the Chicago crew now. And Brad Jones has got his reasons for staying. I'm not judging. That's his decision to make. Whatever. And I don't know what's going to happen with Channel Awesome. I read something earlier that said they were just going to rebrand it as the Nostalgia Critic now. So who knows? Maybe they're not going to invite like new producers to come and fill the void. They're just going to continue on as is, and it sucks. I love that guy with the glasses.com. I love Channel Awesome. I loved it. In its heyday, I would spend hours just on that website just watching all the various producers. And it's gone now, and it's a damn shame how it all turned out. But I can't fault the producers for leaving. Because I read through that Google Doc that they all put out there, and god damn it, is the one about the revelations about Juwario. That's wow. It's really just so unfortunate. And this is true. One of the reasons for starting the new channel, well, one of the reasons anyway, was that I wanted to take a stab at actually getting a spot on Channel Awesome, and that's not going to be happening now. So it sucks. I don't know what else to say. But I can't fault the producers for leaving if all that stuff that they wrote in that Google Doc is true. I really can't, because they. Mike Michaud and everybody, they treated people very badly if all that stuff is true, and they deserve to have all that support. All those people abandon them. They deserve it. I don't know what else to say about it. I agree about the Venom movie looking like a movie from the 90s. Reminds me of Spawn, and that's not good. Oh wow, I didn't think of that comparison, but yeah, you're right. Let's see. What if Venom gets over 70% of Rotten Tomatoes and makes over $600 million at the box office? If that happens, I will be very surprised. Very, very surprised. I'll put it that way. Infinity War was awesome. The characters were faced with difficult decisions, gut-punching deaths, great action, team-ups, and an ending that left everyone in the theater that I was in speechless. Coming from a fellow long-haired brethren, do not cut it or you'll lose your powers like Samson. Well, it's I'm gonna have to cut it eventually, but I don't know. Maybe not yet. I might trim it in the back. But I do kind of like having long hair. I've gotten used to it. I like the way it looks. Although I can rock the bald look too, so I'm not it's not a question of that. It's just a question of how long does it get before it's just a pain in the before it just becomes a complete pain in the ass to deal with. Holy crap! I love the long hair there. Is it going to be used in a review gag? I hadn't planned on it. I don't know of any gags I can make about having long hair. If I could think of one, maybe. Interesting how it looks like all the original Avengers are still kicking, but the new generation all died and disappeared. I suspect Stark and Rogers, etc. may sacrifice themselves to bring them back. I think so. Yeah. I think Avengers 4, we're going to see one last hurrah with the original team lineup before they kind of walk off into the sunset and have a new, like the new Avengers take over. And then maybe instead of Avengers 5, it'll be the new Avengers where you've got like a whole new roster. You got a Captain Marvel and Black Panther and Doctor Strange and Spider-Man will be in there, I guess. And it's just like a whole new roster of Avengers, I think. I think that'll be really cool. But yeah, I would not put it past them to see to kill off Tony and Steve. I think Bucky will still be around because I heard somewhere that Sebastian Stan had signed on for like 9 movies or something. So maybe have like a Bucky take up the shield and become the new Captain America like he did in the comics. I would not be at all surprised if Cap dies. I'm kind of expecting Cap to die. Tony, I don't know about. Because if, again, spoilers here, but if Tony and Pepper were already married, then I would think, yeah, Tony's going to die. But they're not married yet. So I feel like Tony still has something left to do. Because the character arc is not yet fully complete. With some of these characters, if their arc is complete and you feel like you finished that character off, then I feel like that person's probably done. Like Loki, I don't think Loki's coming back. I think Loki's done. Because the character has come full circle and they finished him off. Gamora, also. Although, I think if they were going to kill Gamora, it would be in Guardians of the Galaxy, not Infinity War. So I'm touch and go on Gamora. I could see her coming back. I could also see her dying. Here's what I think. I think if Gamora stays dead, then Nebula joins the team in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And not like they just run into her somewhere and go on a mission or something. I mean, she's on the team in Guardians 3. But if Gamora comes back to life somehow, then I think Nebula dies in Avengers 4. Because I think one of them is going to go. I could see it being either one. Because with Gamora, again, you kind of finished the character off. You had her address the Thanos issue. Yeah, you gave her the surrogate family. She and Peter kind of admitted that to their mutual feelings, attraction, whatever, and they finally kissed. So again, you could kill her and without it feeling like there was anything unresolved. And again, you could kind of do the same thing with Nebula, although I think you could go further with Nebula, which is why I'm leaning towards Nebula sticking around and Gamora staying dead. But again, I think it could go either way. Cap, I think, is dying. Tony, I could see him dying, although I'm leaning towards him sticking around long enough to at least get hitched with Pepper. Once that happens, though, I think if he gets that far, then he's probably dead. Let's see. I meant Peter from the Deadpool 2 trailer. Oh. Yeah, that guy Peter. I was thinking of something completely different. Yeah, this random guy named Peter who wants to be on Deadpool's team in the Deadpool sequel. Do you have any special powers or abilities? Like, not really. It's like, yeah, cool, you're on the team. And then and they just put him on X-Force, just this rando named Peter. It's such a Deadpool thing to do. Let's see. Suppose Tony can still play the mentor role for Spider-Man. I guess, but at some point, you got to take the mentor figure away and have Peter stand on his own. And they already kind of did the mentor thing in Spider-Man Homecoming. So, in order for Peter to reach the next stage of his development, he's got to stand on his own, and you got to take the mentor figures away so he can figure shit out by himself. So to have Tony stick around and continue to be the mentor is just kind of redundant, I think. Yeah, they did it once. Time to move on. Okay. Think Scarlet Witch will still be on the team. Yeah, I think she could stick around. She's new enough that we could still get more out of her. Vision, I suspect Vision may stay dead. Again, anyone who disappeared at the end because of the Infinity Gauntlet, I think most, if not all those people will come back. But anyone who died prior to that, like died in battle, like Loki or Gamora or Vision, I think those people are more likely to stay dead. How come in the trailers for Infinity War it shows the Hulk in the Wakanda battle, but in the actual movie he never fights during the battle? Good question. I was wondering about that myself. Two guesses. One, it was in a cutscene that didn't make the final version. Or two, it's a shot from Avengers 4. Because they shot both of them. So it's either a cutscene or it's something from the next movie. I suspect it's from the next movie because there was that whole Hulk subplot of how Banner can't turn into the Hulk right now because Thanos kind of embarrassed the Hulk and now the Hulk is scared or something. He's scared to come out. So I suspect that's from Avengers 4. Okay. And yeah, okay, that's the bottom of the chat room. So we'll give it a minute, see if anybody else has more questions. Anything else in here? That's all my talking points. I can get rid of this. Okay. Yeah. Another friendly reminder. If you're here, just joining us, if you want to click the link in the description box or click the link I am posting in the chat room right now, right there, go subscribe to my other channel, your thumbs up, click the bell icon, and watch as I review episodes of superhero / sci-fi / fantasy television series, and I review, roast them, and have a lot of fun. It's a good time. That was something that I was wanting to try for a while. Going pretty well so far, but let's try to drive those views up. And yeah, okay. And also, what other shows would you like to see me review? I'm doing Supergirl right now, and I'm going to stick with that in the short term, but I also want to do other shows. I was thinking about reviewing the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon, possibly Wolverine and the X-Men, possibly X-Men Evolution, or X-Men the Animated Series. I've been watching some old episodes of that show recently for a nostalgia kick, and goddamn, I forgot how great that show was. Oh, man. I've rewatched almost the entire series. God, I forgot how great this show was. There was so much great stuff in that show. So many things that they would never be able to get away with today. Because that show got fucking dark as shit at times. I mean, these are things I didn't appreciate when I was a kid watching the show, but god damn it. They got dark as fuck. Like Mr. Sinister, just the design of him in the first place, but you know, how he sharpened all his teeth into fangs and all the gross shit they did. His lab is basically like a sci-fi S&M dungeon. And oh wow. Man, that show is one of a kind. I want to go back and watch it again right now. Do you think we will get a Wolverine cameo in Deadpool 2? I don't think so. I think we might see a Hugh Jackman cameo. But I think Hugh Jackman seems to be done with Wolverine, although I suspect he could show up in Deadpool 2 as just a gag. Not as Wolverine, but as Hugh Jackman. Because we know Ryan Reynolds really wants him to be in that movie. But who knows? Stargate. You know, Stargate is kind of the same thing as the Orville. I kind of like the original movie, but I never really got into SG-1. SG-1 was kind of silly to me. I liked Stargate Atlantis, sort of. Stargate Universe, in my mind, was the best one. I guess I could review Stargate Universe. I would like to go back and watch that again. But SG-1 I have, like, no interest in. For a number of reasons. Chiefly among them, that show went way past its expiration date. I think it went for, like, what, 10, 11, 12 seasons, something like that? Good God. Stargate Universe, in my mind, was easily the best one. It got canceled after 2 seasons. Fuck that, man. I would like to go back and... I actually would like to go back and review Stargate Universe. That might be a good one. SG-1 is... I don't know. Smallville? Oh, Jesus Christ. Smallville was so bad. Oh, lordy. Westworld or Game of Thrones? Well, you know, I haven't checked out Westworld yet. I watched the pilot. I haven't seen beyond that. I've been meaning to. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Game of Thrones. It's... Well, with the format that I'm using, I'm hesitant to use anything from HBO, because I feel like the copyright bots might be... I've avoided the copyright bots so far. No copyright strikes yet. Except in the test review that I did, that it hasn't been made public. But I feel like with HBO stuff, that might be harder to avoid copyright strikes. So I'm hesitant to do anything from HBO. But who knows? I was let's see. What did you think of the second Incredibles 2 trailer? Much better trailer this time. Much better. You get a better sense of the story and of what they're going for. I did not like the first trailer at all. Thought it was very amateurish, and I thought they needed more of an announcement that the Incredibles are returning, because this played like the first Incredibles was like a year prior to that or something like that, and not like years and years and years and years. So I felt like they needed to do something to like reintroduce the Incredibles and reintroduce the audience to this franchise. And I thought the second trailer did a much better job of doing that. You get a sense of what the story is, and I'm excited. The original Incredibles is one of my favorite movies. I adore that movie. So I can't wait. I really hope it's good. Really, really hope it's good. I do Stargate Universe then. Okay. All right. Well, I'll put that on the list. Maybe I'll do a poll. I've been thinking about starting a Patreon for the channel, and maybe that'll be a Patreon reward. Let people vote on what show I talk about next. Because there are other shows I want to do. Because you know, the Berlanti-verse, the / Flareverse shows are ripe for roasting. And there's still some... although I'm very hesitant to go back into to tackle the Flash again, just because that show broke me, man. I don't know if I could go back, even though it would make for great roasting material. So I feel like it's probably inevitable, but there are other shows I want to tackle too. Like some good shows, which is why I said Spectacular Spider-Man, Wolverine and the X-Men, maybe X-Men Evolution too. But yeah, I hadn't considered Stargate Universe, which I felt was a very underrated show. WWE are never going to pull the trigger in making Bayley or Sasha Banks as heel over the other. It's frustrating. Yeah, it kind of feels like they're just not going to go there, doesn't it? I don't know what the hell they're waiting for. I would take either one of them turning heel at this point, as long as something changes. But they not only do they not seem to want to make either one a full-fledged heel, they don't even want to pull the trigger on the feud. It's like they keep teasing it and teasing it and teasing it, and it's like I'm almost at a point where I couldn't give a shit anymore. I gave a shit for a while, but we're months beyond that now. These two should have started a feud so fucking long ago. Why are we still dragging this out? I don't get it. I don't know what the hell they're waiting for. It seemed like Sasha was turning heel for a hot second there, and then they kind of backpedaled on that. And now it seems like they're moving away from it almost. It's like, what the hell are they waiting for? I don't understand it. Don't get it. Westworld is really good. Avoid spoilers, though. A little late for that. I got most of the spoilers for the first season, just through osmosis. I was like, I kind of know what happens, for the most part. Excited for the Solo movie. Not really. No, not after The Last Jedi, which I absolutely hated. And, you know, it's still a Kathleen Kennedy production. And I maintain Kathleen Kennedy has no fucking clue what she's doing. She absolutely needs to go. She doesn't understand... I don't feel like she understands Star Wars at all. She's putting her political agendas and beliefs ahead of just telling good stories in the Star Wars universe. I think she absolutely must be fired. I think Dave Filoni is the guy who should be leading Lucasfilm, at least from a creative standpoint. Because Dave Filoni, the mastermind behind Star Wars The Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, I've seen very little of Rebels, but people seem to really love it. I adored The Clone Wars. And, you know, Dave Filoni, I think, is the guy we need. As long as Kathleen Kennedy is in charge, I have very little hope for the future of Star Wars as a franchise. And Solo is a movie that I didn't even want to see get made in the first place. I don't want to see young Han. I don't want to see a character. I don't want to see any other actors playing Han Solo. If it's not Harrison Ford, I don't want to see it. Just like the same way that I wouldn't want anyone else to play Luke or Leia. These characters are too iconic to have anyone else playing them. I just didn't want this movie to get made. I don't think it needed to be made. If you wanted to do flashbacks or prequels or whatever, then do Old Republic stuff. There's a ton of great material in the Old Republic. There's a ton of great Old Republic stories they could do. And considering like all that, what a troubled production Solo had, I have very little faith that Ron Howard could salvage this thing. I'll probably still end up seeing it because it's still Star Wars, but I'm not optimistic at all. You still have another show you could review. Farscape. Yes! Hang on. What the fuck is it? Son of a bitch. Oh, sorry. I was gonna break out my Farscape box sets because I have a whole series on box set, a DVD box set. Thought I was gonna do something cool there. I don't know where they are. They're in this room somewhere. But I got so many movies and DVDs and stuff. But I have like all 4 seasons on DVD. And my God, the Farscape was a fucking great show, wasn't it? Ah, man. But I had not considered Farscape. Great idea. I will put that on the list for potential future shows to review. That's a great idea. Titus O'Neil botch at the Greatest Royal Rumble was hilarious. That was the best thing about the show. Oh my God, that poor bastard. I heard, I read that Vince McMahon was like was almost in tears. He was laughing so hard at that backstage. Oh, they're never gonna let Titus forget about that. His career is done. I'm sorry, that's gonna follow him around forever. Oh, poor schmuck. And then the Jinder Mahal botch where he's so out of position that Jeff Hardy misses with Whisper in the Wind, and then he turns around after Jeff has missed, and then he does the bump anyway. Oh God, Jinder Mahal is fucking terrible. Those are the only 2 parts about the show I watched, just because I watched the memes that instantly showed up on social media. Oh boy. Funny stuff. Funny stuff. Your thoughts on the second half of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. this season? What was your favorite episode thus far this season? Mine is the 100th episode and the twist with Fitz and the twist with Graviton. My thoughts on S.H.I.E.L.D. and this season as a whole, really. My thoughts are, it's becoming... Well, I heard that their budget was cut for this season. So they're working with less money. And that is becoming noticeable. Now, there's less action overall. They're emphasizing certain things over the other over others. It's still a very well-written show. But you can tell that the scale has become smaller for budgetary reasons. So they can't do a lot of some of the stuff that they used to do, and a lot of it is they're sticking to the same sets, and they're trying to do more with less. And I understand that, and I don't think they've done a bad job. But it is noticeable that they've had to scale back. So if this were to be the last season, I would be okay with that. In fact, I think this would be the appropriate time to finish the show for a bunch of reasons. Number one, I heard a ways back that the producers, when they began the show, they had a 5-year plan. Well, this is year 5. So maybe this is where they're supposed to end it. I mean, it feels they've had a number of callbacks to the early episodes, the first season, this season. They've had a lot of the long-running plot lines are coming to a head. They're paying off stuff that has been paying off plot threads that were dangling for a long time. They're finally getting back to Graviton. That's finally paid off after they teased that in like the 3rd episode of the first season. And it was just left there for a long time. Now it's finally getting the payoff 5 seasons later. Fitzsimmons finally got hitched. They're finally moving toward the Coulson May thing that I never cared to see in the first place, but a lot of people have been waiting for that one. It feels like everything is finally coming to a head. Plus, this season is literally about them saving the world from blowing up. I don't know how you top that. If they were to do a season 6, it's like, how do you top saving the world? maybe this is just the time. Maybe this is just the right time to end it. And if it did, I'd be okay. I feel like, 5 seasons, that's a lot more than most shows get. I'm good. You had five strong seasons. Maybe it's time to end it before the quality starts to dip. And I feel like if they have to continue on with the smaller budget, I feel like there might be a danger of that happening. So maybe it's time to just just go out with a bang, get out while it's still good. So that's the way I feel. I think the lower budget is becoming noticeable, and that's a problem. Not so much that the quality has dipped, but I feel like maybe it's time to just reach that finish line. Favorite episode this season? I don't know. I wouldn't say the 100th episode. Because I was kind of hoping for something bigger. They would think they went for more of a smaller character piece. Not that it didn't work, but it's just a 100th episode, you kind of want more bang for your buck. Favorite episode this season? Maybe the bottle episode where we found out what happened to Fitz. About like where he was, because we know he didn't get brought to the future with the others. We found out what happened to him in the meantime. That's probably my favorite one this season. Thoughts on the villains this season with General Hale, Ruby, and the misuse of Werner von Strucker. Well, I'm glad they brought the Russian back. Ivanov, I think his name is. Because I wasn't sure if they were going to bring him back. So it's nice that they tied him up. I love that they brought back Absorbing Man. I wish they would make more use of his powers, but again, with the budget, maybe they don't have the money to do that. Ruby, I don't get it with Ruby. I think they made a lot of noise about Dove Cameron. It's like, holy shit, Dove Cameron is joining the show. Whoop-de-doo. It's like I don't know who Dove Cameron is. Is she a big deal? I don't see why she's a big deal. And now, after seeing a number of episodes with her, I still don't know why she's a big deal. I don't think she's been bad. I don't think that she hasn't done anything that's blown my socks off, And she looks like she's from the Disney factory. She doesn't look like a Hydra agent or a Hydra operative or a stone cold Hydra killer or everything. She looks like she's from the Disney factory. And General Hale, not a bad actor, not a bad character, but I feel like we kind of closed the book on Hydra. And to bring it back again, I don't know. I kind of feel like I kind of wish we'd just gone in a different direction. Maybe use AIM, not the AIM from Iron Man 3, like the real AIM with like the scientists and the beekeeper suits and whatnot. Maybe they just want to bring Hydra back to go to once again, bring everything full circle. But I feel like Hydra, we kind of did that. Maybe we should just leave it in the past, especially if you're not going to go like full bore Hydra with with Madam Hydra and Taskmaster and all that stuff. Because I'm still waiting for Taskmaster, man. I wanted to see Taskmaster since season fucking 1. They never did Taskmaster. I don't think they're going to. And they kind of did a version of Madam Hydra in the framework with Ada. But it wasn't the version, from the comics. It was an admirable choice. And I think Mallory Jansen did great with it. But again, not the Madam Hydra from the comics. And if you're not going to do that stuff, if you're just going to have this thing with General Hale and Ruby and call that Hydra, I feel like we kind of didn't need to do this. Maybe we could just call it something else. And just like put a period at the end of Hydra, because you kind of finished Hydra off after season 3. You explained them, and you tied them into the Inhumans, and you tied the whole thing into Hive and everything, and then you finished Hive off, and it's like, can we just leave Hydra in the past at this point? I didn't really see the point in going back to it. So, yeah. I don't dislike General Hale, but the whole thing feels a little redundant at this point. I am happy that we're finally getting Graviton, or at least a version of Graviton. Although it's weird that they're doing it with Talbot now. Instead, I thought Dr. Hall was going to come out of the Gravitonium or something. I guess he still could, but ooh, Firefly. That's another good one. Although that's another one that SF Debris reviews. I mean, he hasn't done one of Firefly in a while. I could do Firefly. Although the thing is, with Firefly, like, every review would just be me, would just be like me saying, "Oh, this is awesome! This is awesome! This is awesome!" I need, which I guess would also be a problem with like Wolverine and the X-Men, Spectacular Spider-Man, and stuff like that. But I don't know. I guess I could put it on the list. Although it would be kind of depressing because we only had half a season worth of episodes. But this is good. I mean, you guys are giving me a lot of suggestions for shows I hadn't considered. Although, like, a lot of the spacefaring stuff, it's kind of SF Debris' domain. I think I'm better off not trying to copy him and maybe staying in my particular sector. But I can take a shot at Firefly, possibly. Although Farscape, I think, would be more likely. Even though SF Debris does that one, too. Let's see. I love the Ian Quinn twist. Props that they saved that for you for 4 years, and it shows us now. But do you think the show is done after this season, or deserves one more, and end the same, then Phase 3 ends, same time Phase 3 ends? I don't know. I love that they brought Ian Quinn back for, like, one scene and then showed how he died. But just to wrap up that plot thread, because we knew he was out there somewhere. We always wondered what happened to him. They finally showed us. I already kind of answered that. I think ending the show with Season 5 would be appropriate, because I don't really know where else they can go after they've literally saved the world. It's like, how do you top that? I don't know. It kind of just feels like Season 5 is the appropriate time, although it might continue later on. I have faith in the writers to do something good. I just wonder if it's really necessary, if it were to continue on. Because if they ended it with Season 5, I'm good. I'm good. In true SJW style, they'll probably have Emilia Clarke's character do the Kessel Run. Wouldn't surprise me. And then they'll reveal that she's probably Force-sensitive or something like they did with fucking Holdo. Because the Force is female now, apparently. Fuck you, Kathleen Kennedy. Kathleen Kennedy also made The Force Awakens and Rogue One, and they were good. Granted. Although, I would argue that The Force Awakens was good because of J.J. Abrams. Not Kathleen Kennedy. Kathleen Kennedy is the one who had this plan, this blueprint for the new trilogy laid out by J.J. Abrams, who then hired Rian Johnson and let him throw out the blueprint and do whatever the fuck he wanted. And this has been confirmed now. Because they had a plan for the new trilogy, written all down and laid out by J.J. Abrams, and then Rian Johnson just threw the plan away and did whatever the fuck he wanted to do. And went completely off the rails, and Kathleen Kennedy let him do it. Kathleen Kennedy is the reason why Rogue One had all those production problems and had to do all those reshoots. She was the reason why Solo had all those production problems and fired their directors halfway through production. This woman doesn't know what she's doing. And yeah, The Force Awakens was good, but it has been, in my opinion, has been retroactively ruined by The Last Jedi. And yeah, I enjoyed Rogue One. I liked it, but I'm not blind to the faults the movie has, the problems that it has. And, you know, the jury is out on Solo right now, but I still maintain I wish that movie didn't even exist. That was the funniest thing I've ever seen on a WWE show. Titus World slide. I'm still laughing about it. Vince should have given him a pay bump that night. He deserved it. Shield had a Supernatural had a 5-year plan, and that's now on season 14. Jesus H Christ. Let's hope Shield doesn't overstay its welcome like that show has. Did you watch the Star Wars Rebels finale? You know, I have never actually watched that much of Star Wars Rebels. I've seen various clips of it. I was reluctant to check it out initially because they canceled Star Wars: The Clone Wars prematurely to make way for Rebels, and I always kind of I always had a little bit of resentment for that because I loved Clone Wars so much. I'm pissed off that we didn't get to see the ending. Although I've heard that Rebels is very good. I plan to watch it one of these days. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But if Dave Filoni made that show too, I'm down. I had to get over my anger about the Clone Wars ending. Because I love the Clone Wars. I even enjoyed the initial Clone Wars movie. Because if you don't think of it as a movie, just think of it as like the first 4 episodes of the TV series. It's fine. And yeah, they had animation. They had issues like with the weird animation style, but that didn't bother me that much. I always just considered it as several episodes of the TV series crammed into one, and in that capacity, I liked it, and I loved the series. So yeah, I will check out Rebels eventually. I haven't actually sat down and watched it for realsies yet. I have seen enough clips to know that it's good though. Thoughts on Supernatural? You know, I've never really seen it. I watched a couple episodes in the first season back in the day. I just didn't really care enough to stick with it. Would you consider doing video game reviews? Not really my forte. I'm not much of a gamer, really. There are games that I've enjoyed. But I haven't really played anything recently. I always intended to pick up the rebooted Tomb Raider franchise, which I think is on its like 2nd or 3rd game now. Just haven't gotten around to it. I think I'm better off sticking with TV shows. I don't think I know what to do with a video game review. Let's see. I agree that Shield could end this season, but part of me wants one more season and end it when Phase 3 ends with Avengers 4, and Marvel would have had a show that lasted through 2 phases. As it Season 6 could do AIM and divert math of Infinity War. I guess they could. I just, I don't know. It does feel like they're attempting to bring everything full circle with Season 5. And to go beyond that, it's just... I don't know. I don't know. I keep saying this, but Season 5, to me, just feels like the appropriate time to end it. And I would miss the show, but I'd rather it end on a high note than go on too long, like some of these other shows have. Like Supernatural. I can't believe Supernatural is still on the air. Like, what are they even doing on that show anymore? Do you think the new Teen Titans show will do well? I have no idea. I've seen some of the promotional posters that looked good, and then we saw those set photos where Starfire looks like a tranny hooker. And what the fuck was? I don't know. I'm gonna wait and see, but maybe when there's a trailer it'll look better. But damn, those set photos were not encouraging. Ready for Deadpool 2? Yeah, sure. I enjoyed Deadpool 1. I wasn't as in love with it as a lot of people were. But I don't have a crazy attachment to Deadpool as a character. I see why he's popular. It's just not really... It's just not one that really speaks to me personally. But I'll watch the sequel. I kind of wish they didn't have they weren't doing some of the things they're doing in it. Like, I didn't want the first cinematic iteration of Cable to be Deadpool's straight man. I would have wanted it to be in him showing up in X-Men or in an X-Force movie. But now it's going to be in Deadpool 2. He's probably going to be a guy for Deadpool to bounce wisecracks off of, and it's just not what I wanted for Cable, you know, or Domino for that matter. Because I look at Domino in those trailers. I'm like, that's not Domino. I'm sorry, it's not. Domino is a character with a very distinctive look, and that's not it. And she's not one of those characters where you can change up her look and get away with it. No, the look is kind of all she's got. Once you've changed the look, you've kind of changed the whole character. That's no offense to the actress. It's not on her. It's not the Domino that I wanted to see. And it's not the Cable that I wanted to see. And so, I don't know. It might be entertaining. It might be good, but it's not really on board with some of the stuff they're doing. When we recommend a show like SG-1 or Firefly and you think it's been done or not good enough, you could do a review of the entire series as a whole or a review of the very first episode, just some ideas. Well, if I was going to review the whole series as a whole, that would be an awful long time, because didn't SG-1 go for like 12 seasons or something? I can't just sit down and watch 12 seasons of SG-1 for one video. I kind of like to do like one episode at a time. It's I think because with those videos I can crank those out in like 10 days, 2 weeks, something like that. Maybe less than that if I push it. But to do like a series overview, I'm not sure how I could do that. How I could approach that. You know, Blockbuster Buster, Erod, he does like series overviews and stuff, and he does them pretty well. I'm not sure how I personally could tackle something like that. I'd have to think about it. But just for my style, I prefer going one episode at a time. And again, you know, I have seen assorted episodes of SG-1. I've seen the first episode from way back in the day. Again, it's one of those shows that just doesn't really speak to me. And with Firefly, you know, I'm not really sure what I could say about Firefly that hasn't been said already. It's fucking great. It's goddamn heartbreaking that Fox canceled it like that. That's been said by countless people, and I don't know what I could say that would add to that. I mean, who knows? Considering the Netflix shows still casually refer to the Avengers 1 as the event, surely what happened in Infinity War would have an effect, unless they press a big reset button and no one remembers. I think it could have enough of an effect that they could mention the events of Infinity War. I don't think we'll see any direct effects, because then they lose, you know, cast members that they don't have access to anymore. And what if they want to use those cast members for something? What if they want to bring them back? Well, they can't until Avengers 4, so I don't think we'll be seeing any direct effects of that. Because, I mean, the Netflix shows are kind of their own thing. Hence why no one has mentioned Luke Cage being forced to sign the Sokovia Accords, even though he's a powered person, a public figure with powers. Why hasn't he been forced to sign the Sokovia Accords? I don't know. They haven't even been mentioned. I don't think they will. I don't think they will be. Same thing with Jessica Jones. Everyone sort of... It's more or less publicly acknowledged that she has powers, and yet where are the Sokovia Accords? Why haven't they been brought up? I don't know. If they're not even going to tie those in, then I don't think they're going to tie in people disappearing off the face of the earth. So I don't think we're going to be seeing that. One of the problems with the Ultimate Spider-Man show is that they tried to make him like Deadpool. Yeah. Yeah, with the constant breaking of the fourth wall and just non-stop joke. So yeah, the dramatic moments just fall completely flat, even when they try to do them, which isn't often. Still pisses me off that they canceled Spectacular Spider-Man for that Ultimate Spider-Man was a piece of shit. I'm sorry. That show sucked. Let's see. Could do as Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. I could do that one. That was the good Avengers show before they canceled after one season to make way for the new one that was terrible. I hadn't considered that one. That's another one. That's a good idea. Blockbuster Buster did a great review of that show too. Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah, thoughts on the whole Channel Austin debacle. Already kind of talked about that. Have you seen Runaways? I have not seen Runaways. I believe that's on Hulu. I don't subscribe to Hulu. I've got a Netflix account now. I'm trying to limit my expenses right now, so I'm not really up for signing up for any new streaming services. Maybe if I could find it online via other means, I might check it out. Because I've heard it's good. But I have not seen Runaways as of yet. And let's think about wrapping this up. So I got a couple things to do tonight. And I kind of got to go to the bathroom also. So if you guys have anything else you'd like me to cover, hit me now. And let's wrap this thing up. Marvel also has Spider-Man Homecoming 2 coming out 2 months after Avengers 4, and yet they have to trust Sony to try and do the marketing for that. Good luck with that, Marvel. Yeah. Because Marvel can use the character, but Sony still covers the marketing, which is not a good thing. Iris is even more annoying on The Flash. Yeah, I believe you. I'll take your word for it. I have not been watching The Flash this season, because the only reason I watched it as long as I did is because I was reviewing it at the time. I'm not reviewing it right now, so I'm sure as hell not watching that shit. Although I've heard Iris has gotten pretty insufferable this season, like even more so. And I'm not there for that. I have no interest in watching that. Maybe if I start reviewing it again for the other channel, again, click the link down there, go subscribe. If I start reviewing it again, maybe I'll see what's going on, but no. Right now, I have no desire. I have no desire to. Iris is the most boring, useless, pointless character on that show, and I've heard that they've made her even bigger this season. Like I heard they gave her powers or something. Like I've heard they made her the leader of Team Flash, despite her contributing fucking nothing. Like her having no reason to be there at all. They're just doing it because she's Barry's girlfriend. Because she's Barry's girlfriend, you can do whatever the fuck she wants and make her like the biggest character ever. And we're all supposed to like it because hashtag girl power or whatever the fuck. Iris is a boring, useless, stupid character. Why couldn't they just kill her off in Season 3, for fuck's sake? I would have applauded that decision, but they didn't have the balls to do it. Seriously, killing off Iris would improve that show so much. See your point about them not tying in the events of the Sokovia Accords. Maybe there's a contractual dispute that no longer ties them together. Not that I know of. I thought she was his sister, now she's his girlfriend. Well, now she's his wife, apparently. I stopped watching before that happened, thank God. Now, she started off as his foster sister. And if they were planning to do the romance the whole time, I don't know why they started out that way, because it's always seemed squicky to me. Barry being in love with his foster sister and dating his foster sister and sleeping with his foster sister and now marrying his foster sister. It's a little weird and creepy, and it will never not be. And that's even before you factor in the fact that they still have no goddamn chemistry whatsoever. So fucking ever. Ugh. And I think that is a good place to end it. Thank you very much for tuning in. Once again, go subscribe to the other channel. Click the link. There are I put a number of links in the chat room. There's also a link down there in the description box. Watch me. I'm reviewing / roasting Supergirl episodes right now, but I plan on expanding outward to include more shows. You guys gave me some very good suggestions for future shows I can talk about. Farscape, Stargate Universe, I will take that into account. I'd also like to review The Magicians at some point. And but for the short term, I'm going to be sticking with my my wheelhouse, which is the comic book superhero type stuff. I really would like to talk some X-Men and some Spider-Man, and all those reviews will be going up. All those types of reviews will be going up on that channel, Tharias Unlimited. So go subscribe to that channel. But in the meantime, this channel ain't going away, guys. I'm still going to be around. I might not be reviewing stuff as frequently, but I'd like to continue talking about wrestling with you guys when I have a chance. Even though I'm not reviewing it weekly right now, I would like to get back to that at some point. But it's just a matter of finding the time and the energy and my heart being in it, and then stuff like that. Real world stuff kind of kicked me in the balls recently, and it's something I'm still dealing with. And probably will continue to deal with for a long time. But, we do what we can, and we try to get by and find stuff to occupy ourselves. And that's what I'm doing with this other channel. I'm enjoying doing something different, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to do it, just because I've been reviewing Wrestling Weekly for a long time, and I just needed some kind of a change. And I feel like it's been good for me. It feels refreshing. It got my creative juices flowing again. And like I said, I'm not going away. I'm not going to stop talking about wrestling. Yeah, I'll still be here periodically. Still talk about wrestling with you guys whenever I can. And I'm still doing the heel cast when we can make the schedules work. And I assume I'll still be writing for ImpactAsylum.net when I can. Did a text column for them recently. But I didn't want wrestling to be the only thing I talk about anymore. Just wanted to do other stuff too. That's what this is about. But I'm very thankful that you guys are still with me, still sticking with me, and still care about what I have to say. Because I like to talk about more than just wrestling. I have other interests too, and I just wanted to expand outward and talk about other stuff as well. So please subscribe to the channel. The new channel, link is down there, and it's also in there, or is it on that side or that side? Whichever side the chat room is on. You guys know it. There's a couple links in there I posted. So go subscribe there, watch those videos, and give me some feedback. Let me know what you think. Rock the bell icon, click the thumbs up. Let me know what you think of the reviews. I'm still trying to iron out my process and tighten these things up and make them bigger and better. I feel like I've made some progress so far, but I'm always looking for feedback. So let me know what you think. And I will talk to you guys later. Arrow's interesting this season. Farscape. Okay, got a couple of votes for Farscape. Would be nice to revisit Farscape. Would be nice. Okay. All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I will talk to you soon. Later.